Hey guys, this is our second side notes for Pythagorean theorem, and today we're going to be covering estimating square roots. So before we get started, I want to just briefly go over what we did in the last side notes because they're really important for today. So what are three examples of perfect squares? So there's endless possibilities for this, but simple ones are going to be 4, 9, and 81. And remember, we figured out last time how to figure out their square roots. We could do things like do the prime factorization and figure out what it was. We could use our calculator. But what are the square roots of each of these? Well, for 4, it's 2, because 2 times 2 equals 4. For 9, it's 3, because 3 times 3 equals 9. And for 81, it was 9, because 9 times 9 equals 81. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking numbers that aren't actually perfect squares, and we're going to be estimating the approximate square root for them, which will have decimals. And we're going around it mainly to the first decimal place, and you will be able to use your calculator to check your answer, but I expect you to estimate and show your work. Okay, so our first example. Felicity wants to know if a wading pool will fit in her yard. She knows that the wading pool is square and that it has an area of 7 meters square. So what she wants to know is what is the side length. So remember, for a square, the side length is going to be the same on both sides. So if we know that this is 7 meters square, what we want to find out is what the square root is. So one way to do this is to draw a number line. And first we need to figure out a square root that is smaller, a perfect square which is smaller than 7. So that could be 4. And a perfect square that is bigger than 7. Well, the next one's 9. So what is the square root of 4? That's 2. This is the symbol for square root. What is the square root of 9? 3. So now what we're going to do is we're going to estimate where 7 lies on this line. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, this isn't perfectly to scale. This is just an estimation. We know that our number is right here. So first off, is it going to be bigger or smaller than 2.5? Well, if you look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections in between 2 and 3. And this one is 3 sections past, which means that it's more than halfway. So I'm going to estimate it's 2.6. So if I use my calculator and do 2.6 squared, what does it give me? That's another way to write squared. 6.76. Okay, so why don't we try the next one? 2.7 squared. So what's 2.7 squared? Well, that gives me 7.29. And if you look, we were actually closer with our first one. So the square root of 7 is approximately, and so that's why I use this wavy lines, it's called a tilde, is approximately 2.6. So the side lengths of the wading pool are about 2.6 meters. Okay, well, if we were using our calculator, how could we do that? Well, on your calculator, there's going to be a symbol that either looks like this or it'll have a little 2. And what you do, depending on your calculator, some you'll press the number 7 and then you'll press this. Others, if it shows you the equation on your calculator, you're going to do it the other way around, and you're going to press the square root symbol and then your 7. So if I do that in my calculator, I get the answer of 2.64 meters. So we were really close. Okay, so to estimate square roots, what we do is we use our number line. So the first thing we do is locate the perfect square on either side of the number on the number line. Then we find the square root of the perfect square to the left of the number. And the third thing we do is estimate the decimal based on the location of the number on the number line. Okay, so let's try that with the square root of 60. And again, we're estimating. So we draw our number line. Okay, so what's a square root that is smaller than 60? Probably 49. And what is a square root bigger than 60? Probably 64. And now where does 60 fall in between? Oh, I skipped a step, didn't I? So find the square root to the left of the number. 49 square root is going to give us 7. 64, it's going to give us 8. So we know we're pretty good. So now where is 60? Is it going to be closer to the 49? Or is it going to be closer to the 64? Well, I think it's going to be quite close to the 64. So what am I going to estimate? Probably about 7.7. So again, we try our calculator. And if I do 7.7 times 7.7, it gives me 59.29. Pretty close. Pretty close. Okay. So for each of the following, use perfect squares to estimate the square root to 1 decimal, and then check your answer with calculator. So what is the square root of 22? What's our first step? We draw our number line. What's a square root that is smaller than 22? 16? What's a square root that's bigger than 22, or perfect square, sorry, that's bigger than 22? 25. Okay, so the square root of 16 is 4. Square root of 25 is 5. Now where does 22 lay? Well, it's going to be about here, isn't it? Because it's 6 more than that, but only 3 away from there. So I'm going to estimate, again, it's bigger than 2.5, or sorry, it's bigger than 4.5. I'm going to approximate about 4.6, which I might be off on this one. So let's see it and figure out if it's supposed to be 4.6 or 4.7. So 4.6 times 4.6 gives me 21.16. 4.7 times 4.7 gives me 22.09. So 4.7 is actually the right answer. Well, it's the closest answer. How about the square root of 40? What's the first step? Draw our number line. What's our second step? We have to figure out those perfect squares on either side. So 36 and 49. Square root of 36 is going to be 6. Square root of 49 is going to be 7. Where does 40 lay? Well, it's only 4 more than 36 and 9 away. So it's actually, this one's going to be on the lower end. So I'm going to estimate it'll be about 6.4. Let's see. That gives us 40.96. Let's try 6.3. 39.69. So we were much closer with 6.3 than we were with the 6.4. This is why it's estimating. Sometimes you have to try it a couple times before you get it right. Okay, so another thing we can do with this is we can identify a number with a square root between two numbers. Okay, so what is a whole number that has a square root between 6 and 7? Well, this one's actually easier than it may sound. The very first thing you do is you're going to do your number line just like before, but you're going to do it backwards. We have 6 and 7, so what are the perfect squares for 6? The perfect square is 36. What's the perfect square for 7? What's 49? So what is a whole number that lays between these? Well, there's actually quite a few. There's 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, and 48. All of these are whole numbers that could have a square root between 6 and 7. So how many whole numbers can you find? Well, we found all of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there are 12 possible whole numbers that have a square root. Between 6 and 7. Okay, that's all the notes we have for today. Your assignment is going to be page 10, which is the same page as last time, but we're doing some different questions. Question number 10, 13, 15, 20, 22, and 27. I'm hoping to post my next video on Friday for the next set of notes. If you have any questions, feel free to either email me or send me a message on Remind. Beyond that, I hope you guys have a good week. Don't forget, if you forgot your textbook at home, if you go to my website, there is a link to access your textbook online. Have a great day.